Welcome to another episode of Title 24 presented by NBC Sports. Like every week, before we get going, we're going to jump right into it. Excuse me. Been out of the saddle for a little bit, but Dunlop, Boxo, United Motorsports, Quad Lock, thank you guys very much for enjoying the ride with me and RV. RV, exactly, just like I said, I was double clutching there. I wouldn't say that we've had a break, but we've had a break. We've had a break from the pod for the last couple weeks. A lot to go over today. I'm glad to be back in the saddle with you, but I'm only going to be in the saddle with you today because you got a long trip that you're going for that you can tell us about, or if you want to tell us about what you got going
Yep.
on after later on this week, brother.
Yeah, man. So I'm heading off to Germany for a German Supercross race on Thursday. So it's going to be this weekend, Friday,
Mhm.
Saturday, Sunday, and then heading out from Germany down to London for the Vet MXON.
Mhm.
That's a really cool race that Doc Wobbs puts on. I've been going for 3 years now, so I got about 10 days or so that I'll be in Europe, and then heading home. So looking forward to that. But yeah, it's been like you said, we've had some off time from the show, but I think our schedules are still pinned. I'm pinned till end of September, so up until then will be no downtime for us.
Yeah, that's we gotta balance. I think a lot of people may not understand that. Yeah, we have other things that we do. So just because we weren't on the pod, yeah, that's a time for RV and I to knock out our other deliverables, like RV was talking about. He's got a bunch of stuff for Yamaha to do. I'm sure some stuff for Monster and other sponsors. I know you had the boys going. You guys raced this weekend. Where'd you guys race?
Yeah. We went out to Paula for the Moto for Kids race. Got them out there. Went out and
Mhm.
tackled the 96-degree weather, so it was pretty warm and
Uh-huh.
had some fun. And yeah, it's kind of about it. I turned 36 on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. So
All
yeah,
right.
tomorrow. So yeah,
Tomorrow,
tomorrow.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh, you
So
better. Hey, does I know you do have an area for a semi to pull up for my present that I sent you, by the way. So just
yeah, we'll
be
back it in.
don't be alarmed when the semi shows up. You know your guy hooked you up. So,
Nice.
dude. So I was on one of the off weekends. I was out in California. My wife had a work trip in Carmel, and we golfed at Pebble Beach. And like, I suck at golf, right, dude? Like, I don't belong playing at a golf course like that. But I actually had a good time. For me, I played okay. I had some good holes, and but it's a nice. Dude, that whole area is pretty nice. I'd been there one time before, never to play golf, but just kind of walked around, and we had dinner, stayed there for a couple nights. But dude, the weather was nice. It was a nice break in the action for sure.
Yeah,
Have you ever been to Carmel?
I have. Yeah, it's a really cool, I guess central California area up on the coast,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's really low key, mellow, quiet, but beautiful place to go and check out.
Yeah, dude. It was nice. So did that, and just yeah, we got through we had a little hurricane here last Monday, actually. Hurricane Debbie. We were without power for over here where I live on my side of the town. We were out for about 12 hours of power. I got a brand new generator, like a home generator, sitting out there that I'm waiting for the city to come put a meter on the gas line and all that crap. So yeah, it
So it's,
looked
so it's
good.
not so it's not hooked up yet, is what you're saying.
Oh, inoperable. So yeah, we went through there. It wasn't too bad. So if we were going to endure a hurricane this year, it was we got out unscathed, if you will. So
Good,
that
good.
was it, dude. That was it. So now we're back in the grind. Be recording. You're going to be going to Germany. You'll be out of the booth for a couple rounds here.
Yep.
Nevertheless, yeah, we're back in order. I'm coming out to Reno. Fly to Reno tomorrow. We're doing my summer adventure ride. We're
That's
gonna
sick.
do. Yeah, we're gonna go to Lake Tahoe. We're staying around that area, and I've never been there, believe it or not. So we're
Neither have
flying
I.
to Reno, pick our bikes up at the dealership there, Triumph dealership in Reno, ride to Tahoe, stay there. We got a little Airbnb, and then we're gonna do like Cloverleaf. So for people that are listening or watching this pod, Cloverleaf is like where you start and stop at the same destination every single day. So looking forward to that. Haven't been on the adventure bike in a few months, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, I've never been there. Have you been to Tahoe before?
I have not. No, I've seen photos, people that go there. The water looks amazing. I know it's cold, but it's super clear, and just the areas look super like rad to go to. But never been.
Yeah, we're going to Bodie, Donner Pass. They got all kinds of fun stuff. So it'll be
Sweet.
cool.
Yeah, that'll be a
Um,
lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. Sean Palmer's gonna come with us. I know
Oh,
you know
nice.
Palm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna come with us one day on one of the routes that we have planned that is less dirt. So looking forward to chopping it up with him and talking smack, and that'll be a lot of fun to see Palm. It's been a while, so he's doing
Yes, it
really well.
has.
Anyhow, stepping right into it. United Motorsports moment of the week. In case you guys didn't hear about this on the broadcast this weekend, um, Honda has a new model, the
Yeah.
2025 Hunter Lawrence debuted it. I thought he did pretty good. I thought he did
I
pretty good. I mean,
yeah, I agree. I like I kinda like that strategy, like, for the ones that don't know, Honda has to bring in and get, I think it's about there's a homologation rule, and you have to have 220, I think, motorcycles in the
something like that.
States,
Yeah,
in warehouses or on floors. I don't know what the actual technical details of that
it's
rule
close
is.
to that, like
Yeah.
200 or 300, something like that.
In the States or in warehouses, on the ground. So they were able to do that, and he was able to
400, yeah, 400.
yeah, yeah, ride the new 2025 that they've already been riding in Europe. Tim Geiser's on it, and a few others too. So, man, I thought the bike looked good. I mean, it's a little bit of a kind of a call it a gamble or risky, but if you're at Hunter's level, I know it's actually we have it here in our rundown. I did the same thing back in 2000,
Yeah,
I think.
at Unadilla, right? That was your first race, right? Go
Yep,
for
yep.
it.
At Unadilla, I think it was 2012
Would you
model.
12? I think you told me it was 12.
Yep. So we did the same thing. Struggled. Could win a lot of first motos on the 2011 chassis and motorcycle, but just struggled in second motos. Did the exact same thing. Got enough bikes in the country on the ground, and was able to fly out from Florida like on a Tuesday to Glen Helen, ride it one day, and then fly back. In our position as a rider, you are so tuned into these motorcycles.
Right.
Literally, when you pull a bike off the showroom floor, you can find out really what's going to be the problem or how much better is it right away.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
clearly they made the right decision, and they knew what they were up against, with enough time on that motorcycle to figure like, hey, let's go race this thing. It's that much better. I think it was a stability thing. It's kind of what I was hearing through the grapevine. The bike's
Mhm.
a lot more stable. And as we saw, Unadilla, very, very fast track this year. Like speeds were high, track was ruddy and rough, lots of lines, typical Unadilla. But going from some of our past tracks that we've had earlier in the season, like I think that was probably one of the fastest like speeds that we saw to date, of this pro motocross series.
Yeah, it was I thought he did well. Got a good start the first moto, and exactly like what you were saying, RV. You're so in tune with your motorcycle, like you've told us here on this podcast, from going from the 11 chassis to the 2012 chassis at Cowie. You're so in tune with what the bike does right, what it doesn't do right, and then when you hop on, even just like a production model of the upcoming year, you know where you need the bike to be better to go fast, and you liked it. That's why you pushed to race that thing at Unadilla, and your results spoke for just how well that bike eventually ended up being. And I think what we saw from Hunter this weekend was the same thing. Is it the magic answer? No. Do I think he did better? Of course he did. He did a lot better. I think it made it harder for Chase, especially that first moto, to try to beat him compared to what it's been all season long. And listen, dude, all these guys are looking for an RV. I think I'd be interested to know what you're looking for, dude. If you can find like a 10th here or a 10th here, just to make it a little bit more comfortable, that's all you need at at this level, and it's hard to find. But going back to what you said, RV, I love that. Is like he must have hopped on it because Lars talked about it. He hopped on it, loved it immediately, and put in a ton of hours. And that was just a production model. And sometimes, as you know, when you put the factory parts on everything, there's a little bit more reinforcement. So it can stiffen it up, make it, you know, it affects the suspension or engine in certain ways just because of the bracing and the sturdier parts and pieces. But I think that it was great. I think that he did well. I think that the bike is going to continue to get better and better. I mean, it already is, so they'll tweak it, like you said. And I thought it was a step in the right direction. I don't think there's ever going to be any magical answers, but for sure, I think it was harder for Chase, and it challenged Chase a little bit more. I really do. I believe that.
Yeah, I think he was able to close that gap just a little bit, and I think the speed that he
Yeah.
wants to ride is a little bit easier to ride that speed that we saw. Hunter had the speed or has the speed, but maybe not every single weekend. And I think like a track like Unadilla can be very uncomfortable sometimes. You're kind of on a lean a lot of it, a lot of the track. It gets rough, it gets ruddy, long ruts too. So that motorcycle has to be stable. And I think we actually saw they did a good deep dive into it a few weeks ago where on the Honda bikes they were adding material. They kind of went through and they showed these
Ah.
pieces that they were
Hmm.
adding on
Hmm.
the bikes. And you can add material to the frame. That's part of that's okay to do from the rule
That's right.
standpoint, but you can't subtract. You can't take away material on these
Hmm.
on the motorcycles, but you can add. So they were. It looked to me like they were trying to stiffen up that the 2024. So I'm assuming all of the data that Europe has, all the data that Hunter and Jett send back over to Japan, that this motorcycle must be, a little stiffer in the areas where they want it to be, which in return makes a stable motorcycle and potentially too could make it even plusher, even a
Yeah.
softer feel.
I was gonna say that, like, sometimes, yeah, when you go reinforcing and putting braces on certain parts of the chassis where there's some bends in there and where there's some welding in there, it can actually give it, yes, a softer, more compliant feel as well. Yeah.
So very interesting. So I think it was a good move on Hunter's part. Not to mention all the data that they're going to get from Unadilla to the end of the season till Jett comes back. When Jett comes, he'll be able to jump right on that 25, and they'll already be strides ahead of where they would have been if they waited till the end of Call It Outdoors and then tried to do this for SMX. I think it's a great move to do this for outdoors and figure out the pitfalls that the motorcycle has. So when SMX rolls around for our 3 rounds, that they're already handling all of the maybe the little issues or fixes that they want to fix for more of the Supercross. Because it seems like and you can probably back this up too. RC is Supercross and motocross, obviously, as we know, completely different, and some of your issues that you see in outdoors you won't see in Supercross, and vice versa. The issues you see in Supercross you won't see in outdoors. So I really think they'll have a good grasp of what this motorcycle is capable of doing.
Yeah, I think I do. I agree with 100% what you're saying. I think that they got a great group there at Honda. Even I mean the Japanese engineers are fantastic, but just everyone in the Lawrence camp, everyone inside that semi that is there every single weekend, taking notes, taking data. Where do we need to be better? Just making it a balanced bike. I think it's probably a culmination of both. It's probably going to do things well in motocross, do things well and Supercross, which in SMX, as you know, is a hybrid track. It'll complement that style of racetrack as well. I'm excited for it. Like I'm excited for them. I think that it was obviously better initially. I think at our level or at their level now, RV, I don't think that you're going to ride this motorcycle if it wasn't initially better when he rode it the first time. I don't feel like you would have done it. I certainly wouldn't have done it. Like, I'm not changing unless it's 100% better because you don't have time to make it better, right? It's like when you try something, if it's not better, then I'm going to run the same thing that I was running because I don't have time to make it better all the time in the season. So I think it's initially
Exactly.
better. I think it's less violent. I think from what I'm hearing, the window of making it right and the little tweaks to the suspension or what have you is a lot easier, and the window's a lot bigger to get it right. I think that again, this weekend with how well Hunter did, and speaks volumes of the bike. I was doing a little drinking game because people like to talk and like, hey, we're gonna play a drinking game if this person says this many times. So I was playing, I was having fun while watching the race. About every time that new Honda was complimented, I was taking a sip of a beverage, and it was a lot of fun. I watched the race with my dad and my son on Peacock. It was good. It's
Yes,
good.
it was, and little story to that, and then we can move on to the Boxo breakdown. When I did fly out to California, from Florida to test the 2012 bike, and this is no joke for the fans that are listening, and why I say
Come
this
on,
is because
dude. Don't pull
I
our
know,
leg here,
I
bro.
know, right? Right? So I literally, we're so in tune with these motorcycles, I didn't even make it to the track before I turned around and rode back up to the truck and went to the engineers, suspension guys,
Yeah.
all the guys on Cowie, and said, "I can feel a difference in this frame by riding through the parking lot on the rocks and the bumps and the little stuff that's in on the way to the track. I could feel a difference before even making it to the track." And they're like, "You're got to be kidding me." I was like, "I promise you, I can feel a difference." And
Dude.
that's how in tune, Ricky, like you were
Yeah.
very in tune with the motorcycle. We have so many laps and hours and hours and hours on these motorcycles. One little change, you can feel a difference right away. And there's other times you can't. There's other times you can't. I come back and tell my guys, I can't feel a difference. Let's go more in that direction to see if I can magnify what we're trying to change. But
Yeah.
um, I
Dude,
felt
that
between
is an
driving through the
awesome.
parking lot.
Yeah, that is an awesome wow. It's funny because, I'll go back to my early days at PC when I was riding for our buddy Mitch, and, like, on the two-stroke stuff, there were days where you're gonna try pipes, you're gonna try cylinders, heads, whatever it might be. Well, I remember one day that we were at this Supercross track, and we had, like, 3 pipes, right? And they're all cone pipes, like, they weren't stamped yet. And, for anyone who doesn't know how incredibly hard and how time consuming it is to make just like a test pipe. It's like it takes sometimes 20 to 40 hours to make one of these things, right? They're
Yep.
welding and measuring everything. And so we put this happens several times, but just a quick example is like that. They would put a pipe on, and you go down the start straight and you're like brap, 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 like just trying to get it to go, and like, what's this thing feeling like? And instantly, most of the time, instantly, like, ooh, this thing might be really good, or ooh, it's
Yep.
not. And there were times, RV, where I'm like, this thing, I felt bad for the dude that was building the pipe, because I'm like, I at least have to go ride a couple a couple laps to like humor this dude, and
Yeah.
rather than just go down the straight when I knew that it was a pile of crap.
Yeah.
And because I felt bad for him, like, dude, I hate to tell you, but this pipe isn't the one. After it just like, put in so many labor hours on it. So that's an awesome story that you said that. So you wrote it. Did it have factory stuff on it, or was it still production
Yes.
model?
No, so we had put the factory suspension and clamps and things like that. And where I was having a problem with the 2011 was just right above the foot pegs where the
Yeah.
main engine
Swing arm pivot. Swing arm
pivot,
pivot
all that
bolt.
goes through. Yeah, right there, we just had too much material. Call it was just way
Yeah.
too rigid. And they had taken some of the webbing out or made it smaller, not taken it out. But on the
Yeah.
2012, there was less webbing there, less material, and literally I could feel it because it was coming up through my feet, up through my butt, up through my back. It was just wearing me out at the nationals, at the second
Yeah.
motos. And when I rode through the parking lot, I'm like, okay, this is a drastic difference. This is a big difference. So then once I rode it through there, made it out onto the track and got to ride it, all the characteristics of the bike that I had that I liked were still there, if not maybe even a little bit better. But
Yeah.
it was so much more compliant on the track. And
Yeah.
then come around Unadilla, I went 1-1. So I think that was my first 1-1 of the year in
Oh, wow.
2011. Yeah, Dunge had pretty much got me most of the second motos. And points were very close because as you know, when you have
Yeah.
two guys like that don't rotate at a first and second very often, your points lead. It takes you a long time to build up those points. That's like
It
today
does.
when we see, when second and third always swapping, or guys not always being finishing 1 and 2, there's only a 3-point gap between first and second. Well, if you can get your competitor that you're racing against to get a 5th and a 6th or an 8th, that's what we see today. And you see big point swings. Well, when I was racing, it was the Diesel Dunge. He didn't give me those big point swings. It was only 3 points per moto.
Dude, that's a good story.
So
I know it's probably hard for our listeners and viewers to believe that, but straight up, I mean, RV put it in perfect detail for you guys. It's nuts how you can feel it. But as a racer, dude, I bet you were so pumped, and just the confidence alone you had leaving there, it was like game on going to Dilla.
I knew that I could get through second motos like I could get through the first ones, and it had nothing to do with the fitness thing. I was just getting beat to a pulp.
Yeah.
My fitness was good, and like we saw come out second moto Unadilla, I was able to run it till the checkered flag without giving up anything, and that was the difference right there. So yeah, confidence went up dramatically going in. I knew that I had a real shot at winning, but also winning by a decent margin, because I could keep my pace that I had in the first 5 laps till the checkered flag.
Right, dude. Good stuff. United Motorsports. That's the moment of the week. CRF 450 debuting that new 2025 model, looking good. Remember, United Motorsports is doing a sweepstakes. We did it for Supercross. I signed my jersey. RV, I think you did as well, for the winner. The Supercross edition. They're doing it for the Pro Motocross Championship as well at the end of that series, and then the at the SMX playoff rounds as well. So only way you'll be eligible those if you go sign up at unitedmotorsports.com/title24 to get you dialed in. So make sure you do that, sign up, so you could be a possible lucky winner. Get a whole bunch of swag and autographed jerseys from RV and I. So good stuff. Thank you very much, United Motorsports. I'm going to see Big Ray from United Motorsports. He's coming on the ride tomorrow. So looking forward to hanging with him, doing some riding, some grilling, all that fun stuff. Moving into the races. And this is the Boxo breakdown part of our podcast. We're going to break it down for you guys. If you haven't, check out boxousa.com. Fantastic company. Check out their sets. I know the Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha team has it. So if you're at Budds Creek this weekend, go by their pit area and check out their setup. They got some good stuff. So I liked I like what I saw. We already talked about Hunter. I think he did great. He held it together. Got a bad, I wouldn't say a bad start, but just a little further back on the second moto, and just didn't quite come up the field that quick. What did you notice about Chase? Like, is there any notables that that you were surprised at on the 450s or no?
I think that watching Chase, he rode really well. I think that I don't want to say this because it sounds like a broken record, but I think they're getting that KTM a little more suited for him. I feel like, because like I had said, and I mentioned at the start of the show, Unadilla being as fast as it was this weekend, I'm going to say that's going to be the fastest speed wise that we will see this year. And I feel like they're tuning that KTM to where he needs it to be. I feel like he's able to ride it very, very, very quick. He seems consistent. He seems smooth. His starts are getting better. I feel if Jett were here, I'm not saying he would be beating Jett by no means, but I feel like the gap between what Jett had on Chase at the beginning of the season, I think, I can't use the word shrinking because obviously Jett's not out there, but I feel like, and it seems like that gap could be coming down. My biggest deal is making sure that, or thinking to myself, is if Chase mentally can get his head where it's at currently to when Jett's on the track, on the gate, he needs to be mentally as strong and know that he is capable. And I know he does. I know you're not out there thinking that you can't run or race or beat Jett, but I feel like when your top competitor is out, it's a little less stress on the mind, and I feel like that's what he needs to bring when Jett's back. If he can be as confident and ride like he's riding right now, and without the mistakes, because that's one thing too. I think the way they're making the bike better, his mistakes are getting a little bit less, but I also think his mistakes are getting less par for the course of not having his main competitor on the line, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, it does. Now, I will say this. Um, I was watching closely that first moto, and when it was getting down like those last 5 minutes, RV, and you could see the aggressiveness start to pick up. It didn't look as effortless for Chase Sexton, just kind of following Hunter, and he had some close wobbles. I mean, listen, dude, it's pro motocross. Those guys are riding the edge, even in Supercross and SMX, dude. They're riding edge. The bike is going to step out. You're going to have some moments, but there were times, I would say, within compared to the last several races, that where he's kind of been on cruise control and just didn't really have to push it, to where he had those moments. And going back to what you're saying, is it's a little bit different because Jett isn't in there. And I saw little glimpses of what we have seen in the past when he was racing Jett, just where he has to push it a little bit, that those mistakes start to show their face. And I saw that when he is being pressured to try to win the first moto. However, I did not see that in the second moto, which that's to be expected. He had no pressure, so he doesn't
yeah.
have to ride that edge like you're saying. And I agree. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I will say this. I like the position that Chase is in right now. I like how comfortable he is. I do think he goes to the line knowing and thinking that he can get the better of anyone that he's racing, whether it be Jett, whether it be Eli, whether it be Kenny, who you name it. All the best guys in the business. I just think, as far as being mentally prepared and mentally strong, if he eliminates the mistakes, and he's in tune with his motorcycle, and he's knowing what he can get away with and knowing what he can't get away with, most importantly, I think that's going to be where he really needs to put all the emphasis on coming into that SMX playoff situation or series. I really believe that.
No, I think, I mean,
You know what I
it's
mean? Like,
really well, a really good SMX. I mean, Sexton's obviously coming in with all the points onto his side. But the great thing about SMX is it doesn't matter, right? I think what the round 3 at Vegas is it triple points? I think,
yeah,
right?
so it goes single, double, triple. And this is
Triple.
what I wanted to ask you. So, I don't know if you saw it in the broadcast, but Clinton Fowler, um, he had did a little hit, and they were talking about the projection of going into Charlotte and what the points were going to look like. And he was saying that there's a chance that Jett would be, what, 6 or 9 points in the rears. There we are right now looking at SMX World Championship points after round 26. So we got a couple to go. Jett is sitting fourth at 153 points behind Chase Sexton. Now remember, it resets going into the playoffs, and I think what they're projecting is that Jett would be sixth going into the playoffs, which would
Mm.
give them, I can't remember, it was maybe a 9-point deficit. So what I was going to ask you is, it's a 3-race championship. I know the points double and triple, which is exciting. They've done a great job with that, making it really intriguing and putting the pressure on the guys to really have to perform, especially late the second round in the world championship round. Would you want to spot your gnarliest competitor there that you've ever raced? Would you want to spot them 9 points or no?
I mean, you never want to spot anybody 9 points, right? You want to come in at least equal, or with the points lead. But to your point of having double points round 2 and triple points round 3, and then just looking at Jett as a racer,
Mhm.
um, there's not a there at this point. He seems to rise to every occasion that is dropped in front of him. So I think as long as you're within in a fighting distance of your competitor, like Chase, Jett coming in hurt, I think for him it's getting through round 1, testing out, feeling out the thumb. Obviously, he's going to do that prior to to just lining up and racing. He's going to have a lot more seat time on the motorcycle than showing up and racing, but that will be his first gate drop. So a little bit of nerves coming in as you haven't been on the gate for a while. And it could be a good thing. This break could be a really good thing, and who knows, it could be very dangerous when he comes back out. Recharged, batteries recharged, ready to go. If the thumb is just, no issues there, don't even have to worry about it. He could be very dangerous coming in with a break, because he's literally, since he's turned pro, he's had a couple little mishaps here and there, but since he's turned pro, he's been in every title fight he's ever raced for, and I think pretty much won every title that title fight that he's been.
Just about. Yeah, remember the year Supercross when he rode the nose, he broke his collarbone. That, I think that's dang near the only one he hasn't won.
And that was his first Supercross season, I believe.
Yeah.
Connection. Yep. So literally, he's been going for, I think, 9 championships now, or roughly, or something like that, right?
Yeah, seven or 8, something like
7
that.
or 8. I mean, that's a lot. That's a long time to live in the pressure cooker. You did it, Ricky. I've done it.
You've done it. Yeah.
So this break, I think, could be really good for him from his mental side. But he's going to have to come out swinging because Chase is riding well, and they also have the gate drops, right? They have the seat time, as we just saw. We'll jump to Cooper Webb real quick in our rundown. As you saw, same injury, but been at home, been training, been riding, but it's off time. But you just can't replicate gate drops. And as we saw, Unadilla didn't go as planned for Coop, and it looks like his left hand or arm or something there. I don't know. Do we have an update on?
Yeah, I talked to Coop. I texted him this morning, just say, hey, dude, how you feeling? And obviously he's banged up. He said, and he's not going to tell me anything. And I mean, he knows that we're going to record this. I wouldn't say, if he didn't want me to say anything, I wouldn't say anything anyways. But he said he's a little banged up. He doesn't think that there's anything alarming. He just said it's been a while since he's been behind the gate. Obviously, he says it was super rough, and he thinks that he'll be okay. He says that was the biggest hit that he has taken and tested his thumb. So it's more of a scare than anything, as you can imagine. If that, you know what I mean. If you don't, it's like when we've had our ACLs replaced, RV. You don't really know and trust that it's 100% until you come out of that corner, or you just hook that foot and it blows off the foot peg and you completely wrench it, and there's like not a lot of pain. You're like, oh shit, okay, I'm okay. Like my knee is intact.
Did I hurt it? Did I, yeah, no, totally. So, but like,
I think he's all right. Yeah, he didn't sound too alarmed, so that's good.
Like Coop said, haven't been behind the gate for a while now. So that'll be Jett's only, call it concern, or my concern in that department. There is just not being as sharp as maybe the rest of the field, because they have been behind the gate, but also they're long on the tooth too. They've been racing every single weekend, so he'll have the freshness and the excitement to go back, get behind the gate, where these guys are just like, hey, when is this going to be over? So we can get some off time.
I was talking to Justin Cooper. I think it was after Washougal. I believe we were on the same flight home, I think. And he was just like, dude, I'm ready for a break. And I think it was after Redbud, maybe. He's like, I'm just ready for a break, man. It's been a long season, and you don't realize it. It's kind of an oversight, too. It's a lot of races. Again, if you're in the 450 class, we just finished up round 26, right?
Wow.
It's a long time, but that's a part of it. That's why it's a pinnacle of the sport, right? It's not made to be easy. So that's it for the Boxo breakdown. Before we get into the Dunlop debate, though, what do you think of Kenny? Kenny really likes Unadilla, but if you guys tuned in the broadcast, he didn't really have too many expectations. He said it was just kind of a quick thought to come back. What would you in like?
What was I think it was second moto where he was able to make some quick moves pretty quick.
He's good early on like that, like, isn't he, dude? He's so explosive and is good at passes. Watch him in Supercross and leading up for this SMX. Always watch how explosive Kenny is in getting by guys. He's one of the best to ever do it.
Yep. Yeah. So he was able to make some quick moves on Coop,
Yep.
Dylan. As we all kind of saw, he's coming off an injury too, right? So,
Yep.
I honestly I thought it was a little bit of a it was not a shocker, but to have like Coop come back at Unadilla is kind of a gnarly track. It's high speed. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's the one I would have necessarily picked to come back. But then again, you can go back and look at Kenny. I think just different riders. They ride completely different. Kenny's smoothness and just his how technically sound he is on the motorcycle. But look, what we saw was is him getting tired, right? Essentially, just not having it enough in the tank. If he would have been on the gate a few weeks before that, or the whole pro motocross series, I don't think you wouldn't have saw him fade as bad as he did. But he had some quick speed right away. He rode well, and for him, this is just and some added points, right? It's just a little
Yeah.
bit pat on the back for SMX. He's just getting himself a little seat time, a little gate time, some gate
Yep.
drops amongst all these high level athletes, just so that he's not when he shows up at SMX that he's not just cold turkey going out of the gate. So I think it was a good move for everybody that's coming out like that's injured, right? But obviously it didn't go as well for Coop. But
Yeah.
Kenny rode well. He rode well, and I think he's planning on doing. Isn't he doing
250.
Ironman on a 250?
Yeah, we got some fan questions we're gonna go through. So
Good. We'll hit
don't
those in a
get
little
yeah,
bit.
save that, keep that in your back pocket.
Okay.
Moving along to Dunlop debate, and you touched on it a little bit, and I want to give my 2 cents on it. The SMX points and how yeah, Fowler said that we got it right here. Um, Jett will be sixth. They project him to be sixth. Going sixth seed, 9 points back. Um, I feel like where Sexton is, I think Sexton is the best he's been ever. I think the gate drops are going to be a huge benefit for him. And by no means am I like hopping on anyone's wagon here. I'm just trying to, and I hate like speaking about hypotheticals because you just never know, right?
Mm.
But SMX, I like the freshness of the gate drops. I like the 9 point buffer he has. I mean, you just have to think that he's probably most concerned about Jett. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Oh, for
Right.
sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, he honestly, there's other guys out there. What Tomac's going to be back. Webb's going to probably be better. Kenny did well in SMXs. I mean, dude, it's going to be basically full field. So that changes the complexity of the race, as you know. Really good guys coming back. Going back, and I'm going to land my plane, is I feel like those you've talked about it so much on this pod is like the gate drops that Jett has missed. And he's still relatively young as well. And I feel like sometimes like I think he's gonna want to come out here and kick everyone's ass and show everyone like, hey, this is what would have happened had I not hurt myself. I think his biggest challenge is going to be holding back. That's what I think.
Mm,
And if he doesn't hold back, I think he hits the deck. It'd be like, I hope that doesn't happen. I want to see it go down to the wire, but he doesn't have much wiggle room um, for the lack of gate drops that he's gotten this summer. And I like where Chase Sexton's at right now. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be tough for Jett. I really do because of that.
yeah, yeah, that it very well could be. Like I said, the other side of the coin is him being fresh and him coming out not have raced 26 rounds already, and you
But
know
what hold up though, but hold up. Does that him being fresh is one thing, but does the freshness outweigh the lack of gate drops?
Well, I can only use myself as an example, and I think I've told the story once on the show or a couple times on the show before. Was this ACL? Like it was my second or third one. Tore it. Decided to get it fixed. Came back. Was off the motorcycle for 4.5 months. I think is what it was. Came back. Went out to the farm. Went and rode, and Eldon and Casey and everybody that was there turned around after I got off the track and says, "Dude, you are faster now than before you left, before you got surgery. And I think that's a true statement. There is something there about that. And I think having Hunter there at the farm every single day once Jett starts riding and getting doing his starts and all of that. um I hear you. I hear what you're trying to say. I think that and it very well could play out like that, just not having the reaction, the having those gate drops underneath your belt, but it could work the other way too. I think he could come out even better than he was when he left.
Yep. I mean, what about you think he's over that point in his career in that young blood of like overriding? You think like that he won't get caught up in the hype and try to prove a point?
I think he's done a good job at that
Yeah,
so
it's
far
okay.
to this point,
Yeah.
and um, I think it depends on how well Chase comes out, how hard Chase comes out swinging, and I think that's going to determine where Jett's going to have to how much Jett's going to have to dig. If Jett can ride around and have him covered by half a second, and just do it with ease, then I don't think it enters his mind. I think if Chase comes out swinging and has closed that gap because of him being off the motorcycle and maybe coming in a little bit rusty, and that gap is a lot closer, now I see what you're trying to say come into play.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That first one, and this is what I love. You go back to the double points and then the triple points at the final round, the championship round in Vegas is, and again, role playing, and I'm just doing it just because. Yeah, I'm like the results have been the same with the Pro Motocross Championship. Now it's like let's start looking to the SMX playoffs. You're right. If Chase starts out good and Jett is on his heels, he's already 9 points back. So you role play it, and Jett doesn't beat Chase in Charlotte. Now he's getting into a situation where it's must almost like he has
Mhm.
to win. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, like I don't know. Like I'm just kind of at a loss of words. I agree with everything that you're saying. I'm wondering, like it's gonna be fun to watch. How is
Mhm.
Jett gonna react? How is Chase gonna react? You have your thoughts. I have my thoughts, and
I mean,
quite
if
honestly,
I'm Chase, I gotta come out swinging, and I gotta get Jett on his heels to be like, okay, I gotta figure this out.
he's
We have
got
a
to beat him.
few
He's got
rounds.
to beat him that first round, dude.
Exactly.
He's if he. I'm telling you right now, dude, and this isn't going to be a popular opinion if you're a Chase Sexton fan. If Chase doesn't beat him, Jett, that first round, it's going to be a lot of work and a huge challenge to beat him for the SMX World Championship.
I think so too. I think so too. I think he's got to put Jett on his heels,
Yeah.
around one of SMX. And I think if he can do that, then he obviously gets the points at around
Yep.
one. It goes double points round two, triple points around round three.
Yep.
But I think it gets him thinking, okay, I thought this was going to be easier than it was, or I thought I was going to be able to come back, and it puts you in a situation where it's kind of a not do or die, but where you got to make it happen round two and round three.
hmm
So
There you go. Dunlop debate. A couple feel good stories before we go. We got a couple feel good stories, and then we're gonna answer some fan questions, and we got the quad lock question of the week. Dude, didn't talk about it too much, or I missed the opening part of the show before Moto 1. I got in like 5 minutes late. Marchbanks did pretty damn good, dude. Not
yep,
not
yep.
not really a surprise. I mean, Mitch's program and that bike is working really well. Great job to the chef, bagging another OA. That's good. What'd you like? Does that surprise you of Marchbanks?
I no, it doesn't surprise me. I feel like he was as good at Unadilla first race on the Kawasaki. Yes, he was at PC before. Yeah, was over at Muck-Off Yamaha FXR for the last 2 years or so,
Yeah.
and now he's back. So I feel like he was capable of that performance on over at Yamaha and at the Muck-Off team. But I just think his ceiling at pro circuit is higher.
Yeah.
On that team, and obviously I think he's gone through a lot of growing pains and maturity, and probably knows the struggles of it now, right? Of a call it non-factory, because I mean, Muck-Off Yamaha FXR, they do a great. I mean, they are by
They
far
do.
the best non-factory true privateer team, and they
They do. They do.
they
You're
hold
right.
their
You're right.
own amongst all these factory teams. So not taking anything away from them, but I think being back underneath of the truck with Mitch, the guys already kind of know him. He knows the team. I think his ceilings is going to be higher over there. So it'll be interesting to see if that plays out like I
Well,
think. But
yeah.
also it brings a different set of pressure being on a factory team and riding for Mitch Payton and you having to deliver every single weekend. The mentality may be a little bit different than over at Club MX.
Oh, 100%. Um, Myself personally, and you know Mitch just as good as I do, I'm surprised, and rarely do you ever get a second chance
Mhm.
in any sport at the top of the sport. I'm surprised he got a second chance at PC because I don't from what I know, it wasn't like a good goodbye the first time.
Mhm.
So when I heard that he was going over there, I was like, wow, that's interesting. Like he's getting a second chance. So I'm pumped for him and I want him to succeed. I think anyone who gets a second chance, I love that story, like a comeback story. So it'd be cool to see if Garrett's able to kind of do what we were hoping he would do from the initial start of his professional career. Are you surprised he
Mhm.
got a second chance?
I think
Yeah.
I think the second chance, you got to go back and look at who was available and who was
Yeah.
available this upcoming year. I think
Yeah.
what I'm very surprised with is that that club was able to let him out of his deal early mid-season and then switch manufacturers to a team and then obviously come back
Yeah.
out and race the last 4 or 5 rounds of pro
Mhm.
motocross and then into SMX. I think that's what's the most shocking thing. I think
Yeah.
that there's not a ton of riders currently that will be available for 25. And I think he went with somebody that he knew that has shown good results, that has grown as a person, and gotten tougher, mentally tougher, just physically tougher. Saw the struggles of what it is to be maybe not on a true factory team, and now I think he's going to use this to the best of his ability to
Yeah.
to perform as well as he can.
Dude, it was a big moment also, within the industry in general and a big moment for some teams, and first and foremost would be the Triumph team.
Dude,
Uh,
I know.
and right? Like, coming in, their MXGP team has been doing incredible. They've gotten a few podiums now, doing really well. And now, the US Triumph Factory Racing team, Bobby and crew over there got, Jalek Swoll up on the podium. So that's
That's a
a
big
great.
deal. That's a big
Yeah.
deal for I think for G League, number 1,
Uh-huh.
hasn't been up there in a while or maybe ever. Sorry if I don't know your
He
results,
has.
but
He has, but you're right, and you think about, like, this is another oversight. Think about all the other great race teams that have been in existence already, that already have that foundation, that have so much support, and it's just kinda, like, streamlined almost to where this race team, I mean, listen, they got great guys, Bobby, Scuba, the whole crew, the unsung heroes over there. They got good guys there. Um, it's still hard to do in
it's
building
true.
something from the ground up. So I think it's a testament to, number 1, the base of that motorcycle is a good bike. It's very, very balanced, does a lot of things great, and, and the team working and making it to where it compete at the high level. I mean, dude, he got beat by 2 guys that are incredible riders and 2 race teams that are they're top of the range in the 250
Mhm.
class. So they a great job by that race team for sure. And Jalik won actually High Point in 2021.
Yep.
But yeah, so the crazy thing is I talked to Jalik. We were texting back and forth yesterday, and I'm like, dude, great job. And he was pumped. And I'm like, do you even like that track? He's like, no, I don't like it, dude. Like it was gnarly, blah, blah, blah. He says, but and mad props mad props to the Unadilla track crew. You guys did an incredible job with the monsoon that you had on Friday. The track
Saw
actually
that.
I thought it was one of the best tracks that they've had there from the years that I've watched, been there and raced. So anyhow, great job for Triumph and Jalik. Congratulations. One of what we hope that is many, and great for the sport as well. One guy that is a hot topic, Chance Hymas. Dude was strolling that first moto. Aaron, run this tape here, dude. Oh, well, here we go. Get swapping. Easy to do. Really fast section. Walk us through it, RV.
Yeah, just that really high speed section here, and they were running the edge of the track here, and you can see him picking his lines, and then right here he gets kicked. I know I watched it. He'd been running that outside there. I think a majority of guys were in that. I don't know if the bike was just leaned over a little bit more, and that was why it deflected the rear tire out to the left so hard off the track, kind of. Yeah, unexpected. He wasn't expecting that. So tough situation for him. Like he was on rails. He dropped the rest of that field right away. Pace was high. He was riding phenomenal. But yeah, dude, I can try to explain what happened. What I think has happened is the bike was leaned over a little too far.
Yeah.
And the tire caught the edge of it right there.
Yeah.
And just was threw him off violently. And you can see the bike landed on top of him, header pipes right there on top of his helmet too. It ripped his goggles off, surprisingly too. But yeah, just a tough hit right there. Kicked the rear end out. It's like he wasn't ready for it is all I can see. Is he was focused on what he was doing, the laps he was running. He knew he had those guys covered at that point. And it could have been maybe also just things going so well. He wasn't paying enough attention, like things are everything's just clicking off and just didn't pay enough attention to what was there in the ground or the bike's angle. And as soon as that rear tire hit it, it kicked it out to the left. Because multiple people hit that line, but he was just the only one that crashed. So, total bummer because I mean, he's really come out of his
shell.
Come out of his shell, come into his own. I think since Colorado, right? Colorado was kind of his breakthrough and dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury and things like that. And then to see the speed that he had coming in that first moto for at Unadilla was very impressive. So big, probably confidence, hit there.
Crusher, yeah.
Also, you got to deal with all being sore and whatever else he potentially kind of hurt, let's call it. Maybe not true, like didn't break anything, but you got to recover. You got to not stop being sore, and his week will probably be lighter this week. But I'm hoping to see him rebound and come back out swinging again because I think we need that. I'd love to see him and Deegs go at it because I think, yes, Haiden with the points lead that he has. He doesn't have to overwork himself or the motorcycle, but we all know, we got 408 for Deegan, Levi's 70 down, Tom Vial 81 down. Chances.
Hey,
let's see,
hey,
Chances 133 down. So
do you think that like a flagger or something should have tried to help him get the bike off
personally, yes. I think that I know that the kind of the rule is hey, that's AMA's job or somebody else's job. All you're supposed to do is focus on flagging the track so that rider doesn't get hit. But there also has to be a common sense involved into that too. Chance was off of the track. He crashed and ended up off the track, kind of almost on the water truck lane. Yes, was he close to the track? He was, but he wasn't in the race line. So yes, I do think the flagger should have dropped the flag, picked the bike up, and at least moved it off of him, and then grabbed the flag and tended to the race. With these with the pipes and motors and things like that, to get a burn from one of those header pipes is nasty. So yes, he tries to pick it up.
But like I'm saying, like there, drop the damn flag, dude.
Exactly. So luckily we got is that I think that's
LeBig.
That's LeBig. Yep. Yeah, that's LeBig.
Was he knocked out, dude?
I don't know. Maybe just the wind knocked out of him. It seemed like he got up, obviously, fairly soon. Got back on the bike. Super sore, obviously, from that fall, high speed section. So that's the nature of the beast of this sport, right? Is when you hit around.
I hate that. Like, dude, what sucks so bad too is like you said, like even from Colorado, you could see he knew, okay, like now I can run this pace, and he's been doing really well. Remember, his knees jacked up too. He had that ankle injury, but he still was showing good speed. And now, dude, this is just like, oh, it's like right when he's going to get over the hump, then something happens. Right?
Yeah. It's a question for me. Like if I'm Lars, right, and if he's got a knee injury like that, I'm assuming ACL needs to get it fixed again. And it's all speculation. I haven't talked to Chance and asked him, hey, is your ACL tore? But we know he's got a ACL,
that's the locker talk. That's the locker talk. Everyone's saying that.
Yeah, exactly. So knee injury, ankle injury, things like that. It's almost like, do you focus on opening round of Supercross for next season? And yes, I know it's very prestigious. It's a very big deal. SMX, XMS. That's what we're all looking forward to. And that's what we're all focused on at this point. Yes, we have the Pro Motocross wrapping up here very soon, which will be a very big championship to win, but he's not in the championship fight. So the question for me is do you, with his speed and his potential, do you bench him?
And I think you do. I really think you do, for those exact reasons. Depending upon what the results come from this brutal crash this weekend and hit, if he goes into concussion protocol, I don't even know, let's see what happens. I like what you're saying there.
Because the guy's got the speed and he's got the talent. He's technically sound. He's there.
I feel like this could almost be a blessing, and I hate that we even gonna have to talk about this, but if the knee needs to be repaired and that's always going to be lingering, this might be your best opportunity to get that thing fixed, heal up 100%, and do exactly what you're saying, and even come back in the 250 East Coast. That gives you even way more time. Now you're not in a rush. You're not in a pinch to get back. And that's when other, injuries happen, when you're hurrying. You're really not ready to go, and you're going back a little bit earlier. Then you're out of shape. Then you fall, and something else happens. I like what you're throwing down there, RV. I think that should be. If I'm his inner circle, I'm looking at that this week, and I'm thinking like, this might be the play. This might be a blessing.
If it were my kid, that would be very high up on the priority.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
And everything checked out and making a very sound decision on what to do next. Because I think he has the speed to win a championship next year, either East Coast, West Coast, outdoors, whatever the case may be. You never know. Yes, Deegan will be back, but one mistake there, a bike break or whatever, if Chance can just get himself to be consistent, and then not deal with these nagging injuries, I think he has a shot at being one of the front runners next year. He's already shown it. I mean, he dropped those guys in that first moto, and yes, he made a huge mistake, and it cost him very, very drastically. But you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder if pushing on, and just for the racing side of it, or do you sit back, reevaluate, get that thing fixed up, get back to normal, and make a plan for East Coast, like you said, because now you have a big chunk of time where you can get everything fixed up, get healthy, and get your speed, and look to the future.
Well, because I mean, if you're going to have the ACL fix, that's 4 months. If everything goes properly, you just assume 4 months, right?
Yep.
So that's why I'm thinking, he's going to take off now. That'll get him through, to around December, start riding in December, ride January, and then you get 2 months under your belt and you're ready to go, rather than trying to hurry back for the West Coast Championship. And you don't want
Well,
to put that.
here's the downside to that. If you keep grinding, and yes, he's going to have good races, and you may win some and things like that. The problem with that is you get yourself into a championship position in 2025 Supercross, and then you drag the knee in a turn and you pop it out. You boom, 25 points gone when you're in a
Yeah.
championship hunt.
Dude, you're 100% right. Yeah. Imagine like you've won the first 3 rounds, and then exactly what you say. Your knee pops out and then you're hosed, right? Then you're having ACL surgery in February.
Mid-season, now outdoors is shot.
Yeah.
SMX is probably shot. So if it compounds and I think this is too where our industry can look to get better is not right. Yes, we all want to be tough and look, I rode from 14 years old to 22 years old without an ACL and popped it out probably 15 or 20 times in that span of years. My dad was the same way. He's like, dude, you can't afford not to race. You need to race. Like, we have to race. And
Yeah.
that was my mentality, right? And that was his
Yeah.
mentality, and that's instilled into me. But also, if I have 2 boys now, and if we're in this position, if we're ever in this position, I'm going to be looking at all the scenarios. Does this kid need to race to keep his ride, or and I don't think that's the case with Chance. I mean, if I'm Honda, I'm signing him up again for sure for another year or 2-year deal, because of the potential that's there. The ceiling height is very high. Go back, get it fixed right, come back swinging, and let's go win some races, and hopefully.
Dude, I will say, of the 2 years that we've been doing this podcast, RV, that advice right there is probably one of the best pieces of advice you could ever give anyone in this industry, dude. Big picture, take a step back, really look at things. And I love what you said too. Like, if I'm Honda, I'm signing him again, dude. He's earned that right. He has showed us a lot of potential since Colorado's like, okay, this guy's for real. So, yeah, great advice. Fan questions. Tom Bryan, RV, excited to race the vet MXDNs. You already talked about that on the opener. You said you're looking forward to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer you that one. But then Tom Bryan asked, RC, how will he do? I'm like, well, dude, he's like one of the best that ever raced a motorcycle. The guy better go. The guy better go race, or better go win. But you were telling me you pulled out of the trophy class. Explain why. Like, tell us.
So this is the Vet MXON.
Yeah.
We have a full trophy donations class. There's a majority of countries involved in that, but I pulled out of that class. I raced at year 1. Team USA was able to win, so I kept my Motocross of Nations streak alive. And I wanted to make sure I don't be on any losing team, and I'm still not to this day. But dude, in our position, Brian, we don't ride enough, and there'll be guys like Tommy Searle racing, and I'm forgetting them. Neville Bradshaw, a bunch of
guys that ride a lot more than RV does, and like
Yes.
he'll be going out there, he's walking into a trap. It's just,
Exactly, guys that ride much more than I do, and even race more, because I'll just step in and race every now and then. And I did it, and it was a lot of fun. We won, but I still love racing, but I don't want to put myself in that position, nor do I want to have that much weight on my shoulder to be the anchor of the team and show up unfit and whatever the case may be. I want to give Team USA the best chance that they can to win, and that's not me being on the team this year.
Danny Bolton, after Loretta, who's the new up and comers to the 250 next year, and will they challenge Deegan?
Well, I don't look. As we all know, Loretta's is Loretta's, and it's a very prestigious, very high level amateur race, but it's nothing compared to what they're up against. when they turn pro in going to race the big dogs.
Yeah.
To answer that question, Drew Adams is I believe coming out at
Yeah.
Ironman for
Yep.
PC.
Yep.
What I
Yep.
really like about what Drew did is he went to Canada and raced, I think, 5 or 6 or pretty much the whole Canadian National Series,
Mm-hmm.
and not just relying on Loretta's to be ready for his pro debut. He went up and raced against some very fast dudes in Canada, on some pretty gnarly tracks up there. Also, now they're you can't compare the two, but I think the gap between Loretta Lynn's and pro motocross or supercross is drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
You put Loretta Lynn's and then Canada's kind of like that next big stepping stone, and
Yeah.
then pro motocross. So Drew's going to have a lot of learning, a lot of learning to do with himself, his fitness, the motorcycle, the team. But he's looking very promise, and not to mention he's another redhead. So as we all know, that seems like everyone that's been
Look
our
out,
colored
bro.
hair RC.
We're unicorns,
So
bro. We're
that's
unicorns, guy.
that's right. Myself, Trey
That's
Kennard,
right.
you RC,
We go hard, bro. We go hard.
Red Dog. You know, we've all done pretty well. So I think Drew's on his way to doing great things, but a lot of learning to do. So out of Loretta's, from what I saw, I was there from Wednesday to Sunday. He's a very promising athlete racer coming out of Loretta's at this point, but he's got a lot of learning to do. You can't put Deegan and Adams in that same.
No, that's not a fair ask, dude. No, I'm with you. I think he's one of the most promising amateurs coming through. From basically what I've watched him do with the futures, he's been doing exceptionally well. Him and Cole Davies, keep your eye on him as well. I think Cole, and just being around that Star Racing Monster Energy Yamaha team, I think that's going to help him, especially when we get into the Supercross side of things. So, but I think Drew has the upper hand. I like Drew's stature; he's taller. Also, another thing that I think Drew, his upbringing and just not having a lot, he's had to earn a lot. So yeah, he does have a lot now, and he gets a lot of support, but he's earned that. So I don't, yeah, but again, putting him in the Deegan category, nah. If I'm coaching the dude in RV, I think you would say the same way going into an Ironman, bro. Just go put in the laps, just keep the shiny side up, and just get the experience. If you go out there and you try to be a hero, 9 out of 10 times you're gonna put it on the deck. So,
and I think his goal for Ironman should be inside, like literally right around that 10th place. Like, guys, remember when I came to pro circuit, I did Binghamton was my very first race in 05, and I think I went 14-16. So not really a stellar performance for around my very first pro race, right out of Loretta Lynn's. I think we left there not scratching our heads, but scratching our heads on, say, how can we just get inside the top 10 leaving there, meaning, what do we need to do better? And for me, that was staying out of trouble, and getting good starts are key. When we talk about it on the broadcast, we talk about it on the show, every podcast that's out there talks about starts. Everybody knows how important that is, but staying out of trouble, putting yourself in good position, and learning, because what he saw in Canada, I think he saw a little piece of it, but when he comes down and he starts lining up with these guys, the intensity is going to be through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to catch him off guard is how, as soon as that gate drops, is the amount of intensity from all 42 riders, is something that probably will catch him off guard. Like I said, going to Canada totally helped him, though. So I think he'll be better off than a kid just coming out of Loretta's and jumping into the lion's den.
Yep. Oh man, you're right. Top 10 that'd be good. Do that.
And then work for the next, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Baby steps.
It was 14-16 for me, and it was like 5-3 at Steel City, and then I went 2-2 at Glen Helen. So.
Dude. I like that. I mean, you don't. Well, he's a
I don't.
redhead, so
Yeah,
we got that going. All right, dude. Miguel Rodriguez for Ken. I can't wait to hear this. For Ken, what would be the biggest challenge going down to a 250 bike? So
dude. My kid asked me. Gage
yeah,
asked me, "How's Kenny gonna do?" And I said, "Dude,
yeah,
I think Kenny is gonna be well surprised." And part of that to me is look that the Suzuki, the 250 Suzuki that he's going to be riding, um, let's be honest, isn't the best platform to start with. It's a great motorcycle, but it's probably the most undeveloped 250 on the gate. Sorry guys, it's just the way it is. Um, I think he's going to be underpowered, and I think I think he's going to be caught off guard with how I don't want to use. Don't get me wrong when I say the word squirrely, but the 250 guys race completely different than the 450 guys. And as
yes,
Kenny,
they
as an
do.
older rider, 32 years old, 31 years old, obviously he's seen um, everything that can happen on a motorcycle. He's got just the stage of his life is in a different stage than these younger kids. So I think that's going to catch him off guard too, like how squirrely some of these guys are. And I think the start's it's going to put him in that position because I think he's going to struggle off the start.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be the start. It's going to be the guys that the level of riders that he's racing with, and that's it's not a slight towards the guys, but dude, he runs up front all the time in 450, and it's just a different style of riding. Everyone can tell you that has raced in mid pack and 250 and at the front of the pack in 450. It's much more predictable for sure in
Yes.
the 450
Yes.
class, and I don't know. I think like the gearing's gonna be different. What gear am I in? Like whenever I ride a 250, I'm always in a gear higher than what I thought I was. Every time, like, damn it, I gotta go back down to second,
Yep.
something like that. So I think Miguel, that's gonna be some of his issues. But RV hit the nail on the head. Last one before we get to the quad lock question of the week. We're going long today, dude. All right, real quick. Jeremy from California. If you're Hunter, what are you doing these next 2 rounds to win the title? Play dirty, mental. I don't think he does anything myself
No,
personally.
no, I think that you keep doing what you're doing. You try to win as many races on the way out as you can, and I think you set yourself up to come out swinging in SMX. Right? We have a
Yeah.
third very prestigious championship on the line, and it's a 3 race series. So I think you develop that motorcycle further. You put yourself in a great position. You try to win as many races as you can, cash them checks, and you look for SMX to come out because that's a restart in our series. Essentially, he
Dude,
has a chance at winning SMX, and I think that's what he needs to do. I don't think he's
boom.
not playing dirty. The points gap's pretty big, so
Yeah. Dude, he could be sneaky, dude, for the SMX World Championship. I'm telling you right now, like he's gonna go in the number 2 seed,
mhm.
and keep your dude. Just watch him. He could be a sleeper. I,
I think so. So that would be me. That's me. That's me taking if I'm Hunter, I'm gonna
I,
try to
I, I
win as many races as I can and then focus on
The
SMX.
reason that I say, and people are gonna say, "Why do you think he's a sleeper?" Because if the Chase and Jett battles start going crazy and one guy throws it down, then the other guy throws it down, Hunter's right there. Maybe he's up there to pick up the pieces, and
Mhm.
he's riding well. So don't sleep on that guy. All right, dude. Quad lock question of the week. Quad lock is one of my favorite segments of the pod. It's been cool. Been doing this for almost 2 years now. So quad lock USA.com. Check them out. I'm gonna be all quad locked out on my adventure ride, dude. That's for sure. So we'll be sending some pictures and video content all week. But the
Sweet.
winner is Ballarat. Why do some riders hate handguards? Do they interfere somehow? We've never talked about handguards on here. That's
No,
why you
no.
win, Balla. That's why you win. So that's what Bal asked. You know what to do. Slide into the Title 24 DM. JH will pass you along and to Quad Lock. Quad Lock will get you set up. Thank you for being a loyal listener and viewer. Whatever it is that you do, we appreciate you and we appreciate this question. So congrats. What did you like handguards?
Yeah. So to answer the question, I didn't dislike handguards, but if you don't run handguards very often, yeah, it's a bit of a change. Um, I can only use it as a kid. My dad threw some handguards on an 85 that I had, and it really screwed with me because it just like, and they were bigger back in the day. They were all hanging, up here. But yes, I think it it's not in the line of sight, but in your peripheral vision, you definitely can see them. Um, I think that there's not a ton of tracks that today that you need them with. Unadilla was a track back in the day that was much more rocky. I think my first year at Unadilla was '06, and it was substantially more rocky than it is now. And we used to run it every year at Unadilla. Was handguards, but I think it's preference. We don't run them very often, so if you don't have to, it's better not to. But there's a time and a place to run handguards. Unadilla is one of them. Washougal can be another one with the 450s. But that's kind of it. I mean, Binghamton would have been one you run handguards at, but we don't have that race anymore.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
Did you
hated
like
them,
running
dude.
them, Ricky? Yeah, you didn't like running them, huh?
No, I didn't, dude. And the reason that I didn't, it always made my like I didn't like wearing them at rock races, mud races, nothing. The reason that I didn't, because it always made me feel like my bike felt a lot heavier. And it was so
There,
crazy, and I knew it doesn't. And it made my handlebars feel a lot wider. And it just never felt right. I would always get arm pump with them. And
it's weird. It's
yeah,
it's kind
now
of like it's the first time running. It's kind of like the first time running tear offs, right? It's like, oh my god, I gotta reach up here and grab tear offs. Like you got to learn that. You got to learn your hand guards. Um, back in the day, they used to attach them to your clutch perch, and that was a big problem because if you went down, the plastic would get all
yeah,
twisted,
you
and then
couldn't pick your bike up or
your
anything.
clutch would burn out because the clutch wouldn't disengage all the way. So we're way past that.
Oh, dude.
But yeah,
Yes,
there's a time and place. Mud races potentially is a good one to run them in.
that's right.
Um,
Yeah.
but there's a time and place to run
Yeah,
handguard, but it's
there's a time and
far,
place
far
for it.
few between.
Yeah, there's a time. I would rarely run them in mud, dude, just because I'm like, I ride slower with it. I'd rather have my hands be wet and muddy rather than have arm pump and be essentially wet and
Fighting
muddy.
it. Yeah.
Right? Thank you, Ballarat. You know what to do, and we'll get you dialed in. Dude, we're gonna hang on one second, Aaron. We're gonna run this NBC promo, show you guys what's going on. Great week of racing on NBC. But after we are done with that, okay, RV, you haven't seen it yet. I watched the NASCAR Cup race at Richmond last night on USA Network, and the last lap was so gnarly. And we're gonna show that to you again after we do the promo. And I just want to get your thoughts on it before I break it down to you and tell you why I would have done it or not have done it and just show you like just talk about what's at stake. But the motorsports on NBC this week, as you guys always know, Jason and JT are on the SMX Insiders. That's Thursday at 2 p.m. on YouTube. Saturday, practice and qualifying is live on Peacock, race day live, that is. And then the race is live on Peacock. So make sure you guys are tuned in. Your subscription is good on the Peacock app and you're ready to go. It's going to be a great racetrack. Hopefully, Mother Nature will hold out and will be a great day of racing. Championship implications on the line for Haiden Deegan. Then the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Michigan. That's going to be 3 p.m. and that's on USA. The IndyCar Series is at Gateway. I raced there in the NASCAR Series. Good racetrack. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern time on USA Network. Then Sunday, there's an encore presentation for Budds Creek. So if you missed it on Saturday for some silly reason, you can check it out on USA at 12 p.m. Eastern. And then the Cup race is at Michigan, NASCAR Cup Series. is on USA, a lot of on USA. And Aaron, I think you got some video lined up for me. Show us this last lap. So this is at Richmond. Okay, Joey Logano in the 22 and Austin Dillon in the 3. That's coming in through 3 and 4. Then watch, he gets
Oh,
into the back of Denny Hamlin, the number 11 car. So watch, this is coming into 3, gives Logano a little bump. This was after a restart. He gets in, then sees he's going to lose it to Denny Hamlin, and then just barely squeezes out the 45 of Reddick. But check this out. Okay, so Austin Dillon. Okay, let me just, if you don't watch NASCAR all the time, like I love NASCAR, so he's like was 32nd in points or something like that. And the only way he's going to get into the playoffs is by a win. He's not going to race himself in because I think there's only 2 or 3 races left in the regular season before they start the playoffs. He was one of the most dominant cars all night long. Okay. And he got completely hosed because he had 2 laps to go. He had a 3-second lead over Denny Hamlin, and there was 2 lap cars in front of him racing. Stenhouse was one of them. I can't remember the other guy. And Stenhouse gets loose going into 1 and crashes. So the caution comes out. Dude,
hype
I
everybody up.
yeah. So now they go in, they all pit and put new tires on. NASCAR had an option tire, so it's basically like a short run tire where it has maximum grip.
Lap
Right?
time tire.
Yeah. And yeah, so they go. Logano starts on the outside. He gets a really good restart and he gets in front of Austin. And then we showed that replay. So here you go. So if this is you, RV, and the circumstances were what they were, and you knew that making the playoffs is, you just have to think it's at least 500 to $1 million of an of money that you're going to get, whether it be purse, money, bonuses, teams, or sponsors, blah blah blah. Do you do what Austin Dillon? Do you do what he did? Given that,
I mean,
uh,
I'm not. I don't know a ton about obviously NASCAR racing, but to make the playoffs, and you said he couldn't race his way in. He
no,
had to win that night last night to secure a spot. Yeah, I think you do that. And I know for car racing, rubbing isn't that appealing for some, or maybe not the NASCAR fans. But yeah, I mean, you got to put yourself in that championship hunt, right? You got to get into the chase, and I think he did what he had to do. I'm sure there was some fireworks at the end of that.
yeah. So the
Um,
biggest thing where he's going to get a lot of heat from, he's going to get heat from a lot, but where he's going to possibly get, I would think he's probably going to be put on probation because NASCAR has been clamping down over the last couple of years on the right rear, how he right rear Denny Hamlin.
yeah,
So this one he won't get as much heat from. I mean, this is, he got in there and tried to wiggle him up. He tried to spin him out, but that right there, that's where NASCAR's been cracking down on it.
turning
And
into that right rear.
yeah, go to Peacock and go to Peacock app. All you guys that are listening and watching this pod, and you can get some extra insight from drivers and what they had thought about it. But dude, the NASCAR's put these guys in a box to where, I mean, yeah, Chase Elliott was suspended for hooking a dude in the left and like right rearing like that, just to put everything in perspective. So he's probably going to go the penalty box for that. I don't think they'll take his victory away. I think they'll put in
Well,
he's
they
earned
can't
his.
take the victory away, man. He's in the chase now.
Yeah. So listen. Joey Logano is pissed, as you could imagine, after in his post race interview with the reporter. Um, Denny was like, like NASCAR's put these guys in a box. Like it's basically do or die. So I don't really blame Austin for that. And because you have to contemplate what was at stake. Um, 250 points back. I'm not making the playoffs unless I win. Probably not going to win it. Michigan because maybe our equipment isn't going to be good enough. He said this is the first time in 2 years that he's had a car capable of winning at a track like that. So he's probably thinking like, this is our last shot. I'm not doing it at Daytona. I'm not going to do it at Michigan. I'm doing it now. So
Mhm.
I do what he did. I do what he did. Denny Hamlin kind of played it off really well. He's like, hey, I wish you wouldn't have reared me. He didn't say that exactly, but it's like NASCAR's put these guys in a box where they got to win. Basically, they got to win to get in. If they don't, and you're not up in the points, you're gonna stuff like that's gonna happen. Listen, dude, from the couch, I thought it was awesome.
That's the
I'm
great
pumped.
thing about having a cage around you because you can kind of implement those strategies involved. We're supercross, motocross. We don't really. It's hard to play that role, right? Like we had the question. I think it was
Yeah,
Brian asked. What do you do?
yeah,
Do you play defensive? How does Hunter win against Chase for the
yeah,
pro motocross? Like
yeah. Jeremy, yeah.
yeah, or Jeremy. Yeah, there's it's different. We can't really you know, not that we can't do that, but it doesn't have the same effect as it does in NASCAR, I don't think. And
No.
for him to make it into that chase is what, like you said, is what he had to do. The money on the line, the money on the team, or money for the team on
I'm
the
sure
that's
there's
on the line.
huge bonus incentives to make it to the playoffs.
Yep.
Probably it may even buy you some more races next year. Purse money is probably, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing. I meant to text Harvick and ask him like, what type of move was that? Was that like $1 million move or what? What would it have been?
Yeah. Make it into the chase.
Yeah. No, it's not called the chase anymore. It's called the playoffs.
Oh, playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Sorry.
used to be
I
it
misread.
used to be the race for the chase, but now it's just the
Okay.
playoffs. Dude, I would have done it. It wouldn't have been top priority, but they put us in the box. And
Last lap situation like that. Boom. He's in.
I mean, basically it's like a championship, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
for the championship at SMX in Vegas, if dude's in front of you and it's the last lap, all bets are off.
Hey, Osborne did it.
He did. He did. He did. All right. Budds Creek preview. I'm hearing Tomes is coming back. Is he coming back?
I don't is Budds Creek. I kind of heard that too. We'll see.
I hope he is.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to get him back in the mix.
You think Deegs goes full ham and gets that 5-point gap? If Levi gets a bad start, it's only going to be he's going to have to get 5 points on Levi. So
I
do you
think
think
I
you think
think
he
I,
goes you think he
yeah,
wraps it up?
I think that Budds Creek's going to be a good track for Haiden.
First moto though, you think he gets it done? Or does it depend on how Levi does?
I
Or
think
if it's
he's
gonna
going for broke. I think he's going to go for broke. I think he's going to try to get that whole shot, and he's going to ride the wheels off of it, put himself in a position, whatever happens behind him. If he gets it done Moto 1, if he gets it done in Moto 1. If he doesn't, Moto 2 is when I think it'll wrap up. I just think that Budds Creek, I always felt like I could ride the edge of Budds Creek. The soil's good, the
yeah.
track's technical. There's some areas where you can really go fast and go. And what I mean by that is push the limit harder than the guy in front of you and make up time.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be a good track for Haiden. I think it can be a good track for Levi too. I think Levi's going to have to show up, and I think he's going to have to try to stop Haiden from wrapping it up, and that's going to take one hell of a performance from him, like we just saw at Unadilla. He needs to replicate what he did at Unadilla because I feel like Haiden and Levi were fairly close. They were
They
very
were.
close on speed.
They were.
Um,
They were.
Their riding ability that at Unadilla, I felt like Levi really rode well, and especially that second moto. Haiden was inside the top 5, but just didn't make his way through. And part of that could have been him playing it a little more safe. Let's call it that way. He's got to be you have to say that just because of the amount of points gap that he has. You
That's
don't want to
right.
take
Yep.
risks that you don't need to take.
Yep.
I think he showed that in Moto 1 where he's like, okay, Moto 1, I'm going to make a statement. I'm coming out swinging. Boom, he wins. Moto 2, not so much. So I think we're gonna see that. I think he's gonna play out the day And if he's feeling good and he's feeling fiery, I think he goes for it.
There you go. Good stuff. I like it. I think he does too. I think he does. Put it to rest as quick as you can. Come out, get the whole shot, roll. I mean, he can't if he gets a whole shot, he can't control it. Levi does. So if Levi's riding well, I mean, he's got to put 5 points on Levi. If Levi gets second, that won't be enough. So we'll see what happens. But RV, it was fun today. I wish you were coming on our ride. I wish you were coming on our ride with us, but you got to spend some time with the family. You're going to get a little reprieve from the pod. We'll have to find a fill in. Who do you think we should get, dude?
We've had Davey on quite a bit. Clinton's always good. Clint's always got some good insight and always brings the numbers to the table. So Fowler's Facts, he's always a good one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you guys will find somebody good to replace myself.
It's your podcast too. So if you think of anybody, come on, guy.
All right.
Well, I appreciate it. Everyone, United Motorsports, Quad Lock, Boxo, Dunlop, appreciate you guys. And remember, if you're going to do audio version, we're on all the applications for podcasts. So you can listen to us there. And then we're always live, or not live, but Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page, and then Peacock as well. You can watch us there if you choose to watch us. So thank you very much for all your guys' support. RV, great job. Be safe over there in Germany. I told you that. Don't like it, but you're going to be safe. You got to promise us you're going to be safe. And to all our viewers and listeners, we appreciate you guys. And I will see you next Monday.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.